Rightio, Campbells Comment Stable Chat, proudly brought to you by Kelly Partners, Dylan Barry and Paul Dobson. You can go to kellypartners.com.au instead of the phone number, because of with COVID and the ever-changing world that it is at the minute, and especially today. Easiest way to find the boys is at kellypartners.com.au. Beau Tindale and AJ Tindale are both joining me. Firstly, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
And welcome.
And this is a take two, and we've got to declare that because it's a fairly miserable sort of day today, isn't it?
Yeah, well, last time we forgot to turn the camera on, so that was pretty much a waste of time, but I think AJ made your morning tea and deleted it, and just wanted to come back to morning tea again.
Absolutely. No, we did have a little issue. So we've got a lot of photos that I'll put over the top, and people are going to say, where's that day gone? We're lucky because it was a beautiful day that day and be able to see it. And you guys got a good story. Firstly, whereabouts are we, guys? Baringa, which is
Middle of nowhere.
how far from Ballarat?
25.
40 when I drive.
Yeah, I'm on her side because it's just coming. You just need to keep going that little bit and a little bit, but
It's always faster on the way back to Ballarat
yeah. Is there a reason? Is
than
it downhill?
coming home. Well, when you want to go home, you're getting tired. When you're going somewhere, you're pumped, you're ready to go. It's always faster. So,
And we're an hour from Terang.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
hour from
between
Geelong, Terang, and then 25, we'll say 40 from Ballarat. So we're sort of central
we're in the
to
middle.
them sort of tracks.
Yep. And when you came here, there was no track here. There was nothing here at all. You guys have pretty much built this place from scratch, except for the house.
Yeah, the house was here. When we came,
The round yard.
the round yard sort of kept the horses fit while we were building the track, and we lunged them. I think we had about 10 in work, and they just got lunged for about 4 weeks until the track got up and running. And yeah, the track's slowly but surely getting better and better. The longer we're here, the more we do to it, the better it's getting.
Just go back to lunging them. Were you racing them?
Yep,
And how were you going?
good.
You were.
Our first two starters from here were Jodan and Might Be Luck, and they ran first and second in a claimer at Ballarat.
Hadn't been in the cart for 4 weeks. Just lunged them and they come out and went real good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's good coming back the second time. I didn't even know that at all the first time.
Yeah,
So-
sometimes you go, why do I even waste my time working them in the cart? But no, you got to keep them fit and you got to keep them hard. But they were old claimers. A lot of the old claimers could do things like that and you'd get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And we've got another part towards the end of it. Well, I was going to put it towards the end of it. It's one of the new additions that you've got here, and it goes back to that principle. It's a little bit of the lunging them. And do you still lunge them now?
Not now, we've got the walker, no.
Yeah. Okay. We might touch on the walker straight away, but you've got a nice walker out the back, 6-horse walker.
Yeah, well, we got the walker. AJ was adamant to get the walker, save a lot of time, and instead of lunging them, we put them in there and it trots them around as well. It does the same effect, and the horses have their sort of freshen up days, or after a hit out, they'll go on the walker and it will freshen them up again. And it's a very handy tool to have, especially on miserable days as well. You can get them all worked and you're not out in it all day.
It has a heavy sand, and I love lunging the horses. I like them to free lunge and jump and buck and work in the circle. So when I saw this walker on Facebook trotting, it was actually trotting stock horses, I had to have it. I'm like, we can lunge 6 horses in one go instead of one at a time. It was time consuming, and we haven't looked back, and the horses love it.
And I think that's one of the things about it is it's called a walker because it is a walker. That's what they sell it as. But yeah, you don't really walk on it.
They trot in there. Yeah, so this walker actually trots them.
And this lot here have all just come back in off it.
Yeah.
And they love it, don't they, the horses?
They love it.
Well, that's it. They'll all have a hit out tomorrow, and they're feeling fresh for the hit out tomorrow.
Yeah. And it's key. And like you said, like today, just a bit miserable. It was just a passing shower, and it's literally gone just as quick as it's came. But there'd be times where the grind does get a little bit hard, and if you're out there in the middle of a lunge ring and that shower comes through, it's pretty unpleasant. But if you're in here in the shed, it's not as bad, is it?
No.
Yeah. Well, when we were lunging them, I was the victim of lunging them, and I hated it. I'd get sunburn, I'd get cold. Sometimes I'd come in and try and pull on heat stroke so AJ'd do the next one. But
She wouldn't fall for it?
Nah, she's too smart. Too smart.
How long have you been here?
3 years in November.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all. And
Oh.
we're still got so much more that we want to do. So yeah, we're always non-stop doing things out here, so it's good.
There's 2 questions I've asked that I didn't ask last time, and yeah, they're answers that are pretty relevant, aren't they?
Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, so you haven't been here this long. You were based in Melton prior to coming here?
Yeah, we were in Melton before, and when we sort of wanted to, I suppose, get our own place, we looked around a lot, and yeah, we sort of found this place, and it was a bit of a shock to reality moving here, because you're not used to being so close to shops and the convenience of things. But oh, look, the way of living we have it now, we don't complain. We love it. Really good up here.
We
Yeah.
nearly didn't get here because we'd actually purchased a place somewhere else, and we were contacted by Vic Roads prior to going unconditional on the contract that they were going to, at some stage, potentially take 14 of the 54 acres and the shedding and possibly the house. So we were fortunate enough to get out of the contract, but because we'd already sold our place that we were living in, we had like 60 days to find somewhere and find somewhere quick. So Tinny and Carleen, Beau's parents, were on holidays and we were in panic station. So Carleen's and Tinny are on the road with the caravan on realestate.com, sending through property after property after property, and we're on the road driving around looking and ringing agents, and by 4 o'clock we'd almost had enough. And then I was going back through all the ones that she'd sent, and we saw this one again. I said, we're running out of options, and we were in Linton. I said, let's just go look at this Baringa one. And on the way in, we nearly turned around and went back, didn't we? Because of all the trees. And then we drove up our road, and it must be one of the only cleared blocks in the area. Yeah. And we're like, wow. And we loved it. So, and I think we signed up 2 days later.
It's got a beautiful feel to it. The township that you come through, it's got such a relaxed, even go back one other town, Scarsdale as well. They're country towns. They're sort of like what it used to be. So it's very laid back, relaxed. Melton, ever expanding, ever getting bigger and bigger. It must have been a fair shock to the system to sort of come here initially, but he looks like he enjoys it.
Yeah, he loves it.
I do. I was the one that was more scared to move than AJ. She was, let's do it, and I was the one that would find things we shouldn't do it for. But I wouldn't change it now. I love it, absolutely love it up here, and you know, the things I've learnt to do personally up here that I wasn't doing at Melton is just everything, basically, like all the fencing, I do it all now. Welding, I'm the best welder. I could not weld to save myself at Melton, I don't know why, but I got up here and I can weld. So things that I've learnt to do, like I made 4 dog beds up for AJ the other week, and geez, they come up terrific, didn't they?
They did, only they're about 2 foot too high.
But I can fix that. But I could not weld at Melton, and little things like that. Just the farm life. You're more relaxed. You take your time to do something, and yeah, look, I love it.
Fair to say more fulfilling, mentally fulfilling here. Like you achieve something and you can sit back. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's our own place too.
Yep.
Everything we sort of do, we we're proud of.
Yeah.
And you sit back and go, that's it, that's ours. You know, when we were renting the stables before, to do something for the place was sort of a waste of time. And you even though you really wanted to for your horses' sake, you just sort of couldn't. And then when we got up here, like, we've tried to make it everything we want for our horses.
That's pretty cool. Like the mental part of that, I think, is pretty cool. And we will get to why you were making dog beds and your other love at the end of it, because as I've said this to a couple of people, it'll blow their mind. But that part is definitely still to come. Tracks are always important, and you were saying to me that the track's potentially just a touch tighter than what you would have liked Beau, but you've been able to work around that, and that's a little bit because of the measurements of the property.
Yeah, the block was narrow. When we bought it, we were concerned of the narrowness of the block. But AJ designed the track. She went out there with a little wheel and a spray paint tin, and then me and Aaron from Thoroughbred Fencing had to go out and do all the fencing around these spray dots on the floor. And luckily we're very intelligent people that put fencing where it should be. Because if we weren't intelligent, you wouldn't follow these dots. But when it comes time to put the track in, the track come up really nice. And
I've got a funny story about those dots. So you've seen our setup. We've got the front paddocks all set up, and then we've got 12 paddocks in the middle of the track with the laneway. So the grass was long because the property was vacant when we were setting up. So fortunately we were able to come and have the fencing done before we moved, because we had to move with the horses, which was great. So when we're going down the laneway, Colin and I were spray painting and on the wheel, marking all the paddocks out, putting the pegs in, and then Beau was mowing along the lines afterwards.
always get the hard job.
And then we're down the laneway, so there was one corner of a paddock here and one here. Beau's mowing and he's crossed over to the corner of this paddock instead of this one here. And he stops and he puts his hand on his hips and he goes, "Do you have any idea what you're doing?" I go, "Yeah, why?" And he goes, "This is crooked." And he'd cross the lane. So we had lots of laugh and fun. And we used to bring out picnic lunches and stuff, setting it up. So we learned a lot. It was great fun. And we had a lot of laughs doing it. So
One of the things about building a place, like they say, you should never, basically get married and build a house at the same time, because it's the easiest way to get divorced that quickly as well. But it is a very fulfilling thing, especially when you can look back at it now and you look at the laneway, and I've got pictures of it, like to have it the way it is. And those paddocks, we'll get back to your track in a sec, Beau, but those paddocks down there, very, very simple, got good shelters in them, simple fencing and all the rest, but they really work too, don't they?
Yeah, they're safe. We haven't had a horse hurt in them, and they do exactly what we need. So
we just have a lot of posts to paint.
Yep.
We did start painting, but we do tend to start things and then get an idea and start something else, don't we? So
you
a
do.
bit of that goes on.
AJ does that.
Yeah, I do that.
I like to finish something. I can't start something without finishing it, but AJ's always, I'll do this today.
We'll finish that next time.
Remember when you started painting the house?
Yep, started painting the posts.
I've seen the house last time, remember? I know.
Well, one night she did that.
I did. I put all the paint.
Set up her overalls, had her gloves on, everything ready to go. One night she goes, how do you like my paint? It's a beautiful day. When are you going to finish it? She goes, I'll do it tomorrow. She never touched the brush again.
Tomorrow's still coming.
It's on the list.
So AJ, you're lucky. This is stable chat, so we don't do in-house renos or anything along those lines. Okay, so it's just classed as stable chat, so we keep it to the stables. How big is the track, though?
800.
800, and you're happy with that?
I like the straights. The straights are fantastic. The bends are good. Like, I'm not complaining.
He's modified the bend since last time.
The bends are a lot better now since I got my new tractor.
Yep.
So he used to cut
He's showing off now. He's got a new tractor.
Yeah.
He did.
Well, the tractor was in dire need of a bit of TLC, and I couldn't do it with my shovel, so...
He used to cut off the bottom bend, and last lap, sure enough, I look around and Beau's up the inside of me already, and he'd say the bottom bend's too tight, and we always have the argument, it's only too tight because you're not driving it accordingly. So since you've been last time, he has got the tractor and he's put a drain in, so he can't go down low, which is nice. So the bends are better now, aren't they, Dale?
The bends feel better now, yeah.
Now that he's driving them where he should.
The surface is a sand that's pretty common here to Ballarat, in the Ballarat zone.
Yeah, a lot of the trainers locally have got it on their tracks, and it's a very giving surface that it kind to the horses. Does get a little bit sloppy, I find, on real wet days if it's just that. But it does drain good too. So we did have another surface. The base was built with a different sand, and it packed real hard. And
Kaolin, I think it was called. Yeah.
And it was a great surface to as you first put it on. But say like over the summer months, I thought this is fantastic. And then when you got a real good downpour rain, it would firm up real quick. Where this orange stuff, it seems to stay giving.
Yeah, and which is probably a little bit key because you guys, you like all types of horses. I think you always, but you probably initially got a name more for claimers and horses that have been tried, I suppose is a better way of putting it, not necessarily claiming horses like for a long time.
It's more just what we could get, you know, and we got a lot of the claimers and yeah, we really liked them, and putting the time into the claimers was rewarding because you'd have an old boy that was a bit stiff and sore and we'd try and find his little pain spots and work on them as well as keep him fit. A lot of the claimers know how to do all the things that they need to do, so it was just a matter of changing their head, and AJ used to ride them a lot when we had a lot of claimers, and she was always in the saddle, and I tried it a couple of times, but
He did, it was so funny.
I can ride real good.
He can ride, but
this bouncing to the trot stuff is
Yeah.
just no good. Like, you put me on a horse, I'll stay on.
he stays on. at all costs.
If we walk, I'm good. Or if we flat out canter, I'm good. But this bouncing to the trot stuff, I just get crunched around everywhere. And you had one there, might be luck. We ride this one. Yeah, no worries. You won't hold him because he pulls a bit. Will you ride him? I said, righto. So I rode him. And I think I got looking at my clock and I got to about lap 8 and I couldn't move. And I said, I've got to get off. And I couldn't walk for about 2 weeks after that. And fair enough, AJ rode him after that and he was good. He was perfect in the saddle. He pulled in the cart, but in the saddle he was a gem.
Yeah, they used to canter 10 laps a day, so yeah, they loved it, didn't they?
And that's all we did with the old claimers. We never fast worked them. We just sort of did that, and you know, you'd go to the races scratching your head how they're going to go because you're not sort of going into the race fast working them and knowing their figure form and how they're feeling at home. You sort of just, you look at your horse and you go, yep, he's fit. Let's go to the race and see how he goes. So it was a guessing game in one aspect of it, but it was their mindset was completely different, and you know, they loved it.
And the lunging, that the claimers sort of got us with the lunging as well, because a couple of the older ones, they're bored going around the track all the time. They see the track, so you put them in the round yard and they buck and leap and jump, and they loved it. So just to break it up and give them something different to do was the main idea with it.
Which one of you comes about doing something a bit different? And like, is there like you say about riding them, lunging them? Have you seen someone do it before, or is it just the sort of thing that the pair of you say, well, you know, I gave initially with the lunging here, especially it was necessity. It was the only way you were going to get them worked initially. But is it the sort of thing that anyone's taught you, or have you just decided to adapt it?
We do bounce ideas off each other.
I was going to say exactly that. We'd like to change it up.
AJ will say, I want to work this horse like that, and I'll either say, no, you're not, I'm doing this horse my way. Or I say,
then
yeah,
I'll get to do it anyway.
I'll say, give it a go and we'll see how it goes for the horse. So we often talk about a horse and say it's not performing, what can we do, and bounce ideas off each other, and you know, that's like, we've only just started being a partnership, but since I got a trainer's licence, AJ was by my side, so we've always been a partnership and we've always bounced ideas off each other. So that, I think, not being too proud to sort of say, yes, AJ, that's a good idea, has really worked as well.
It's also a smart marital move, is what it's also called.
It is. They keep telling me I'm very smart when it comes to marriage, because I just say, yes, AJ, no worries, AJ, but...
No, we're best friends, so we bounce ideas off each other. We rarely disagree, don't we? We like to try different things, so it's always just worked. Everyone always say, how do you guys do it? How do you work together and then live together? Work's different to home. If you see us at work, we're completely different inside. It's not horses inside, it's all our other things.
It's painting.
Yeah, we should be painting.
It's cooking tea and lighting the fire and vacuuming and
We have our
mopping
jobs.
floors that I've got to do all the time.
I would like to see that. We might have to change this from stable chat to house chat if you're going to start mopping floors.
So Beau got a tractor and I got a new vacuum cleaner, didn't I, Dale?
Smart man.
I did try the vacuum out a couple of times.
This place would lead itself though to being able to try a lot of different stuff as well. And I would imagine you'd get a horse from some stables, you know, especially Melton, those sort of areas, and they'd come here a little bit the same as you guys. They'd get off the float and they'd go, wow. Like they really must change. I would imagine it probably doesn't work with 100% of them. I don't think anything works with 100%. But the older horses, like you said, the claimers that have been around, they get out here and all they can see is other horses and then fresh air.
It's beautiful out there too. Like working on our track, I know we've got a couple of neighbours that aren't overly close, but the views are beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the trees and the hills over there, and there's a gully over the back. It's you just work out there and the fresh air, and it's just beautiful. Whereas in Melton, we were 2 blocks from the Western Highway and it was noisy. If there were fireworks on at Tabcorp or down at the windmill, which was close by, the horses would go off. It was just, yeah.
A much more relaxed.
So much better out there.
So we've got our lunge arena, although I think that days are numbered or not.
I use it for breaking now. Still.
You still use it for the breakers. You've got your track, you've got your trotter, we're going to call it trotter, not walker, but also you can walk them. You've got your nice shed in here. Wish list? Like what would you...
Water walker.
Wow,
Yeah.
Little wish list for her.
So not, I say water walker and everybody thinks 100k plus. No. But we already have this planned and it's on the to-do list, but the tractor sort of jumped the list, didn't it? So we're going to get the same walker that we already have. And I've spoken to the man who fabricates these walkers, and we're going to put it into a donut style pull. I'm not sure about the filter side of things yet, whether it will have a filter system or whether we're just going to have just water out of the tank.
So the plans are there?
So the plans are there, and there's already a little paddock there fenced, ready to go. It's waiting for the walker.
Oh, I'll have to come back. I'll have to come back for that one then too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But
Rome wasn't built in a day.
oh no, definitely not. And you're not an old couple. I've got to be careful how I say that. AJ's going to go whack. You're only young. You're only young, especially in your trainers partnership. That's just got recorded. You know that, don't you? That'll keep coming back.
He's getting old. He's 7 years older than me. So.
No, I'm not. 5.
6.
5.5.
Close enough. I always tell people she's older than me.
But everyone thinks Beau's older, so...
Because I'm more mature. I've said that the whole time.
It's got something to do with the looks as well. You know, yeah. I'm not.
Beard, everyone goes, geez, you look young. I know. That's why I want to look mature.
This is a life place for you as far as your training?
Yeah. Well, I say to Beau down the track, like, we don't have any intentions of moving. We've got everything we need here when we get the water walker. So I said maybe down the track when we're too old to work horses, we'll have broodmares out in the paddock or something. So yeah, no, we're set here, we're happy, and we're happy with how the setup's coming, hey? Like,
yeah.
And as far as your horses goes, like, you know, we've mentioned claimers and tried horses. Trotters, you're not scared to buy trotters. You can buy young horses now. You're active at the sales. You bought one of the more interesting horses that went through, I think it was the APG sale, was it? With the paint rock and roll dance filly, who broke in. And you're smart about your marketing as to how you get on social media at the right times and the likes that way. You want to be known as a person or a couple that can train all sorts of horses?
Yeah, well, you've got to get your name out there, and it's a competitive game, and there's so many good trainers in the industry and so many trainers you've got to compete with. And the biggest thing is just doing the best you can by your owners and your group. And OJ's continuously updating with the horses, the updates for the owners, and whether it be on my stable or Facebook in Messenger group or just an email, she's always sending them updates. And that's one thing that the owners really like, to know what's going on with their horse and when's it racing and how to pull up and little things like that, which I sort of never seen as a big thing in an owner's sort of eyes. But when you sit back and you actually ask the owners, what do you think we're lacking in as a stable, and that was a big thing that come back in feedback is more updates and communication and you know, now now you're sort of on top of that. Owners are a lot more happier, and like owners, we've always said, feel free to ring any time,
Yeah,
and
we're always
and,
contactable on the phone.
and have a chat. And you know, even if you don't think that we're going to like the topic you want to chat about, we're always willing to chat about it. So that's one thing. Your owners everything in the sport, and if you don't look after them, you're sort of you're not doing the right thing, and not going anywhere.
Totally agree with that, and I think that anyone listening to this, and you know, especially if you're a young trainer thinking about how do you get that edge, the easiest edge to get is communication. Because every person I talk to, if they're happy, it's the great communication. If they're sad, we don't hear nothing.
Yeah.
So that is key to anyone. If I could give any person one piece of recommendation, I think that is it. But I find what you guys do social media wise is good. It's accurate, but then by the sounds of what you're doing behind the scenes is really, really good as well. I like to discover things. The worst part about this is that I've had probably 4 weeks to I suppose, agonise over the glitch that I did have in the previous recording. But AJ, you have a love outside of the harness horses that takes up a little bit of your time, and that is breeding dogs.
Yes. So border collies, we have our first litter inside in our office. They're 2 weeks old and they're adorable. And yeah, we've got, so the first 2 girls that we purchased with the intentions to breed with, one has just had her first litter and the other one is in pup now as well. So yeah, it's all happening.
And how did that come about? Like, is it just something that you've developed since you've been here, or have you always had a little bit of a love for them and gone from there?
Well, when we purchased this place, I was on Gumtree and I saw this little border collie pup, and it was my birthday, so it was great ammo. I said to Beau, oh, I love this dog because we've bought a property. Beau, I said, if we get a farm of our own, we'll get a border collie.
Hasn't been a birthday for the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, so we went and picked up Willow and we fell in love with Willow and she's adorable. So I got it in my head that I wanted to breed them. And she's so unique and everyone looks at her and they don't think she's a border collie. She's a little woolly thing and she's a funny colour, and everyone would be like, what type of dog is she? And I'm like, she's a border collie. So I wanted to breed these dogs in the unique colours, and yeah, I love it. So we've got 2 girls and 2 boys. We're keeping a girl from our first litter. She's adorable as well. So
if anyone wants a pup, get AJ.
No, we can't do that because we'll be in all sorts of trouble with Facebook and the likes if they watch it this far. So that's something a little bit unusual. But I asked Beau this question last time, and I know the answer. What is your circuit breaker, mate? Like, what do you do outside of training centrebreds?
Shoe horses. My letdown's me chickens.
Yeah.
I love me chickens, and I nagged AJ at Melton to have chickens for ages, and grew up with chickens. And when we finally got chickens, AJ was scared of them. She used to run screaming because they would come near her, and now she absolutely loves them.
now I tried to catch them. They run and scream when I go for them.
No, well, I'm going to show the video of your feed and one of the oldest ones because you taught it to jump and get to bread. So I'm actually going to throw that video. It would have gone up by now, but yeah. So you don't have a fear of them now.
No. Well, one of our good friends and owners, Steve Reddy, he used to quite often come out and we'd have a sausage sizzle regularly in the stable for lunch, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
He'd bring fresh bread and sausages and go, hey guys, you got time for lunch? And we'd have a sausage sizzle for lunch. And every day Betsy would jerry on as soon as Steve pulled up, lunchtime, and she'd come in for
Chasing the bread.
yeah, a bit of bread. So
She used to be able to jump a lot higher.
yeah,
She's getting old now.
she's getting old.
Age catches up with us, don't you? Well, you'll find that out one day when you shave the beard off next. How many chooks?
Well, there's about 100 at the moment.
Yeah.
I've got to get rid of
Yeah.
some, but there is 100. Yeah.
They're fancy chickens.
I did a big breed up, and then I was selling them really good, and I haven't sold any for a while because I wanted to grow some out and really see what I got. But yeah, I reckon I was looking at them the other day. There's about 40 roosters there that shouldn't be there, but we get that of these. You know, you want to grow them out and find your best ones to sort of pair up and sell them as a trio, and and it's just something I do just to get my mind off other things and horses and owners and things like that. It's my little thing that I go out there and feed me chooks and do my thing, and yeah, it relaxes me.
Yeah, and you do. I can honestly say you love it, because when we were here and we'd taken the videos and I got some of the footage of the chooks, but you sort of took me out there, and once we were out there for 20 minutes, half an hour. You absolutely love them. You know, you haven't got them all named. I know you've got some of them named, but you know most of the chooks and most of their history and what's about them, don't you?
I know every bird by looking at it, but I don't name them. Yeah, I know that bird was, that's this year's bird. She's 2 years ago, I bred her. You know, I know all that. But yeah, the only ones with names are the ones that AJ's named.
Yep.
She's got Sheriff, Betsy.
Yeah, my little my little I like the
got a
cute
few.
ones. So I've got little pecans,
Yeah.
silkies, and Beau loves the Wyandottes. So, but the Wyandottes, they're hard to breed. So that's why we tend to hold on to them longer, because it's all about the markings and the shape. Like, they're show birds. So yeah, we love it.
I would have hatched about 200 this year.
Yeah.
Do you go to the shows?
No.
So
I got my incubator, and hatching day is crazy day.
last year we had.
AJ kept telling me, stop opening the incubator, you got to let them hatch.
No, he's impatient.
We were waiting for them to hatch.
Yeah.
Well, Beau was hatching chickens in the office last year, and this year we're
Got
puppies.
But that's what farm life's about, isn't it?
Oh, exactly. And I never bred them before like I do now.
Yep.
I always had chickens, but now that we're up here and you know, we've got the chook pens underway, and I want to continue building them right down to that paddock that's there, and have another 5 or 6 chook pens. AJ said I was mad at first, but she's really into it now. She loves it.
Yeah, I love them as well.
Oh, we make no money off the chickens. It's just something we do and something I do. And you know, if I sell the odd birds, it's just paying for the feed. But I just love them.
Yeah, James Herbertson's the same, and I said that last time. I remember James. I've known James. He was literally in nappies when I first met him. He always has had chooks, and to this day, he's still got chooks everywhere. I think his driving career's probably taken a little bit more of a front row now, but he absolutely loves his chooks. And if you do get a love for them, they can dead set take over, can't they? It's
one of them things. If you get something that sort of gets your mind off something, and you know, it helps relax you. You enjoy it, and I just love chickens. I don't know why.
They are cute. I love them.
I think it's very key. I'm big on emotional and mental health for all harness racing participants, and I think it's great that you do, because I think that's one of the key things, that if you can get a circuit breaker, as I call it, like just something different, it definitely helps. Yeah. And even though you guys are out here away from the rat race, you still need that circuit breaker or something to just take your mind off what you're doing, don't you? Like
with Cohen, for instance, our son, I tried to get him sort of involved in the chickens and the hatching the chickens, and you know, and you'd think he'd show a bit of interest in it, especially with me loving it so much. And he's not, is he? No, he don't care. Because he's probably
loves the horses, and
I'd say to him, feed the chooks, mate. I'm busy today. Can you feed the chooks?
No,
I'm not feeding your bloody chooks.
But he's an important part of your family too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like Cohen, yeah. And even pony trots, like I know you were throwing pictures up the other day when he was back at Melton and the likes, and it's key to have young kids involved in harness racing.
We get a photo of all his wins. Like, we love it. We love the pony trots, and we want him to love the sport as much as we do, and maybe one day he might want to go down the avenue of driving. I think he will.
Yep.
But yeah, you know, it'd be great if he could. Maybe one day he'll take over and we'll work with him, you know, so. Yeah, no, I think what you guys are doing here is great. I do apologise we couldn't get it up a little bit earlier, but I really appreciate you giving me another chance to get the video down, that's for sure. This has been Stable Chat, as I said, brought to you by Kelly Partners. Go to kellypartners.com.au and they'll look after you, especially again now they're great for business advice as well, with another COVID lockdown imminent. It's going to actually happen tonight, but thank you guys very much for your time, and I've really appreciated it, and good luck to you. And if anyone wants to get in touch with you, please do. You're always open for more owners and more trainers, or more horses, I would imagine. Yeah, always, 100%, Right. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.